As far as, the president's animus towards women, people of color, working people, we have always known who he has been. And this is not a surprise. He's a monster. Period. We have the most diverse administration in the history of Chicago. And he is threatened by that. You can tell when someone is fearful is because they act out. We have a president that is screaming and having tantrums right now because we have an administration that reflects the city of Chicago, but he would much rather have administrations that reflect the country club.
Social and political commentary from a Christian male perspective.
Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. So you know what we're about to do. We're going to talk about brand. Now, I am an 80s baby, so I was raised in the age of Transformers, right? You know about the Autobots. You know about the Decepticons. You know about the Terracons. You know about the Constructicons. Do you know about the Deflecticons? Because Brandon Johnson has got to be the chief Deflecticon. He is trying his very best. And I told you all earlier in a previous video that the reason Brandon went to that church to do that town hall meeting was to set the stage so that he could basically spiritually money launder his horrible bad ideas. Because anybody who's talking about him is going to be picking on somebody who's speaking in a church, as if that gives him like some Grand Theft Auto type of immunity. Once you get into church, nothing can happen to you. Gives him sanctuary for his bad ideas. Absolutely not. So Brandon is going to do his best. He's been doing his best to deflect from what he said at that church. And I will leave the link for that video down below. But I think it's very interesting, and dare I say telling, that not everybody is buying his malarkey. And most importantly, not everybody in Chicago, of all places. So there's an editorial in the Chicago Tribune, and it says as such: speak incautiously about race, Mr. Mayor, and invite a federal scrutiny. So they told him, all that stuff you said, all that foolishness you were saying, sir, you brought this upon yourself. Brandon Johnson still has to learn there are some things a mayor should not say. And we probably all felt that way as well. Let's keep it going. On Sunday, Mayor Johnson visited Chicago's mega churches, one of Chicago's mega churches, the Apostolic Church of God in Woodlawn. The mayor sat down in front of a large South Side congregation for a discussion with the church's pastor, Dr. Brian Bazier. Speaking about economic development, Johnson talked of resources and investments his administration has made in the Black communities and businesses. In that video, I asked you, who is this community, our people, that he kept referring to? And now we know he's talking directly to Black people, which I think added to his problematic situation. Let's keep going. He got to speaking about how BOA Construction, a Black-owned company, had been awarded a contract to be lead vendor in cargo expansion project in O'Hare Airport. It was the first time in U.S. aviation history that a Black-owned contractor had won the lead on a major airport cargo expansion project. The mayor said, all well and good and to be celebrated for sure. But then things got problematic, very problematic. I got to work on my skills. I should have underlined that. Very problematic. Let me see if I can do it real quick. Very problematic. In the context of BOA Construction, Johnson said, one thing I know for sure I have to do over these next 2 years, every single dime that our people have been robbed of, I'm going to make sure it is returned 2-3-fold. I told you he was going to get in trouble for that. And I ask y'all, who is the our people? Aren't you the mayor of Chicago? Like, who are the our people, sir? Keep going. Whether he meant it that way or not, the clear implication was that Johnson's administration would attempt to award as much business as possible to Black-owned firms over the rest of his term. Johnson surely knows there's strict rules when it comes to city contracting. All but the smallest jobs must be competitively bid. The rules can get complex, and they're long have been worthy programs to help minorities and women-owned firms win city business. But the rules exist to ensure taxpayers get the best work possible at the lowest possible price, and that bidders believe the process is fair and non-discriminatory. If you go back and watch my video, I told you all this was going to come back and bite Brandon in the butt, because people are going to say that he was not. All it's going to take is one or two white business owners to come out and say, hey, we bid and the winning bid was less qualified. We bid and the winning bid was more. We bid and the winning bid had fewer resources, whatever that nature. And it's going to turn into a discrimination suit. It's going to turn into a reverse discrimination suit. And Brandon Johnson did it to himself. So while activists are free to opine on whether minority contracts ought to be favored because of the city's past discriminatory patronage and practices, a mayor simply shouldn't do so. If he does, he invites reactions from those in power to investigate, such as the U.S. Department of Justice. In the same sit down at the church, Johnson celebrated the many Black people who had senior roles in his administration, listing their names one by one. Great artwork right there. I think that's funny. That prompted Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon, to fire off a letter to Johnson just a day after the Sunday appearance, saying she'd authorized an investigation into whether his administration is violating federal civil rights laws in its hiring practices. Brandon brought this upon himself. He didn't have to do that. Johnson didn't help his cause when he prefaced the part of this discussion by saying, our people hire our people. I told you, Brandon was talking too much. Not far removed from the infamous "we don't want nobody sent" phrase tied to Richard J. Daley machine. DeLone mused in the letter about whether Johnson's administration was showing a pattern of favoring Black candidates in employment decisions. Vendors are particularly concerned to us a particular concern to us because of how much they impact taxpayers. Statements about making sure favored firms get their piece of the pie and then some threefold should impile more scrutiny and the administration's contracting practices. Notorious Shakman decree, a federal court order imposed on the cities decades ago, and the borrowing patronage hiring practices prevalent in today's first mayor of Daley was lifted in 2014 during the mayoralty of Rahm Emanuel. Ironically, a frequent verbal punching bag for the current mayor. It shouldn't be a tall order for this mayor or future mayors to avoid this kind of rhetoric, inviting a redo of such legal oversight. Even if the administration hasn't put a thumb on the contractor scale in the way that Johnson suggested Sunday, such reckless rhetoric could well discourage qualified companies from bothering to bid in the future projects to the disadvantage of taxpayers. Perception easily can become reality. Then there's the corrosive message the rest of the city is hearing in these remarks, as 15th Ward Alderman Ray Lopez, a frequent Johnson critic, noted. The reaction to Johnson's messaging validates the concerns many people have throughout the city of Chicago that this isn't a mayor for everyone. Indeed, there are ways for Brandon Johnson to communicate his record to voters without exacerbating the ethnic divisions that long have stymied progress in the city. No, Chicago's record of racial discrimination is not confined strictly to the past, and too many neighborhoods held back by racial policies or racist policies and practices by past powers that be still are feeling the effects. Plenty of folks of all races, creeds, and colors realize that, and many have spent years trying to repair this. But our mayor is supposed to be the mayor of the city of Chicago, not just some of these neighborhoods. Johnson sounds like he doesn't mind if his perceived or caring about only Chicagoans and not at all. All right, I told you, Brand is causing his own problems. So real quick, there is a great picture of his administration. One second. And so here's a picture of Brandon's administration. I looked at this in my previous video. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 women, 3 men, and none of them are black. I'm sorry, none of them are white. Please forgive me. There are no Hispanics, no Asians, no Indians, and no whites. So as this person says up here, so when he says he has the most diverse administration, he means there are no whites. Am I hearing this correctly? I think that's a fair question. How is this the most diverse? If again, these are the most senior leaders in his administration. We're not talking about the great unwashed. We're not talking about the grunts in the trenches. We're talking about the senior leaders that get to stand in City Hall and strike a pose. This is bad for Brandon. Bless his heart, man. He is truly going to be his own worst enemy. So anyway, let me know what you think down below. Appreciate you for liking the video, sharing the video. Thank you for subscribing and helping us hit our goal of 50,000 subscribers. I'm looking forward to doing this with you all again real soon. So Lord willing, until then, grace and peace.